Welcome back to Scriptures Unlocked. I'm Elias Monroe.
And I'm Rachel Sinclair. Today, we're turning the pages all the way back to the very beginning. Not just the first verse of Genesis, but the earliest epoch of human history, from creation to around 2000 BC.
This period, what we're calling Epoch One, sets the stage for everything that follows in Scripture. Before Abraham, before Israel, before written history, there was a world being formed, a humanity learning to live, and a God introducing himself to creation.
The Bible opens not as a myth, but as a theological declaration. Genesis 1:1 tells us, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth."
Exactly. And when we look at this time archaeologically, scholars often divide early human development by the materials used to make tools: stone, copper, bronze, and iron. These ages help us understand what the world looked like during the earliest biblical narratives.
The Old Stone Age, or Paleolithic era, stretched back to about 10,000 BC. People were hunters and gatherers. They lived in caves or temporary shelters, crafting simple tools from flint and stone. This was humanity learning to survive, living directly from the gifts of the natural world.
Then came the Middle Stone Age, the Mesolithic period, a time of transition. People began to settle in one place longer, experimenting with early agriculture and forming small communities. It's here that the seeds of civilization begin to grow.
By the New Stone Age, or Neolithic period, things changed dramatically. Around 8,000 to 4,000 BC, humans were farming, domesticating animals, and even creating textiles. One of the most remarkable inventions, pottery, emerges here. It may sound simple, but pottery allowed for storage, cooking, and trade. It was a sign of permanence.
You could say the Neolithic period represents humanity's shift from surviving to thriving. It's the dawn of culture, art, farming, family life, and the earliest glimpses of what God intended when he placed Adam and Eve in the garden: stewardship and creativity in harmony with creation.
The next major development was the Copper Stone Age, also known as the Chalcolithic period. People began working with copper, crafting tools and ornaments. Archaeological sites from this era, like those in the Levant, show evidence of underground dwellings and copper smelting pits. It was innovation meeting necessity.
And then comes the early Bronze Age, a turning point when we cross from prehistory into history. This is when writing appears. The Mesopotamians were the first to develop written language, cuneiform, used for trade, record-keeping, and storytelling.
And Egypt quickly followed suit. One fascinating discovery is a potsherd, basically a broken piece of pottery, from the site of Arad that bears the name Narmer, who many historians identify with Menes, the pharaoh of Egypt's first dynasty. Writing gave humanity a way to preserve thought, and for the biblical story, it opened the door for divine revelation to be recorded.
That's such a powerful transition. In a sense, God had been revealing himself through creation and conscience. But now humanity had the tools to write down his words. It's as if history was preparing itself for Scripture.
When we read the early chapters of Genesis, creation, the flood, the Tower of Babel, we're seeing not just isolated stories, but theological anchors in human prehistory. God shows himself as creator, judge, and redeemer long before the covenant with Abraham.
Yes, and even though archaeology gives us fragments, stone tools, pottery shards, metal ornaments, the Bible gives those fragments meaning. It tells us that history isn't random. The same God who set galaxies in motion was also guiding humanity toward relationship, revelation, and redemption.
Every step of human progress, from chipped flint to written language, was part of a divine narrative unfolding. And that's the wonder of Scripture. It's both human and heavenly, historical and holy.
So, from creation to the dawn of civilization, we see humanity discovering how to live, and God patiently revealing how to truly be. And that even in the earliest chapters of history, God was already writing his story, one that leads us all the way to today.
As we wrap up, and you go about your day, one thing to remember is that even in the earliest chapters of history, God was already writing his story, one that leads us all the way to today. Well said. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm Rachel Sinclair.
And I'm Elias Monroe. This is Scripture Unlocked.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes.
And don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends.
See you next time.